Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you might be. Welcome back to episode 94 of the Same Old Arsenal podcast. We lost 2-0 and he's still getting backed. Unai Emery apparently has been backed by the board today. I don't know what to say about that, but I'm sure we are going to get into it. Now, before we start, obviously, I have to do my bits and pieces. If you like a bit at the weekend, please go and click the link below in the description. You'll see our partners Fans Bet. Click the link and select the Same Old Arsenal podcast as your beneficiary. And you will be helping people with every bet you put on. Our beneficiary is Great Ormond Street Hospital. So every time you put a bet on, you're helping kids in Great Ormond Street Hospital. Also, another awesome giveaway for you this week, actually. Just popping up on the screen there now. This giveaway coming in from Mr. Memorabilia. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be giving these away. A competition. You have to follow Mr. Memorabilia, follow the Same Old Arsenal podcast, and retweet that tweet that's on our account. It's the pinned tweet. That's the only way you can enter is by following Mr. Memorabilia and us, and retweeting that tweet, and look at those prizes. I wouldn't mind them myself, to be honest. They're A4 prints of Dennis Bergkamp, Ian Wright, and Thierry Henry. A lovely prize. Get over there now, start RTing that. Follow Mr. Memorabilia, winner next week. Gentlemen, Dan, how are
you? Yeah. I suppose I'm all right. Life's good, mate. It's just Arsenal, isn't it? That is the only thing. That's the only stress I have in my life at the moment. I am so happy it is an international break, and I never say that. I've had enough of Arsenal, mate. I tell you.
Lee?
Oh, well. I don't really know what to say no more. I'll be honest, boys. I really don't. Like, you know what I mean? I've had a hell of a weekend. I'm not going to tell you about my Sunday in the football. But I'll tell you about me Saturday at Leicester. Soaked. Absolutely soaked to the bone. I got home about 12 o'clock because everybody on the buses had a few beers, and it's like, you know, every station, what do they call it? Every service station, we've got to stop off because someone wants to go wee-wee. So I was getting the hump with that. Steve, the DJ, got himself drunk. Started playing Christmas songs on the bus. So I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And you think, I'm thinking to myself, is it worth it? Is it worth it all? And then I get out today. I'm going to work today, Monday morning. And I get things on my Twitter and everybody's saying the noise, calling Arsenal fans a noise. I've never been insulted so much in my life. And I mean, like it's all our fault. Blame the fans. And I can tell you something now, while I'm sitting here now, from the minute that game kicked off to the final whistle, apart from the ones that left the ground, everybody was singing and trying to encourage that team to the last whistle. Right? And I'm telling you that, well, do you know what pissed me off even more? I'm going to swear, sorry that. I watched I should never have done it. I watched the Liverpool versus Man City game yesterday. And that wound me up even more because as much as they're better players than us, I see 6 forwards running their nuts off. 3 of them when they're winning 3-0 and the other 3 when they're losing 3-0. And then at 1-0 and at 2-0, I see our so-called glamorous 3 of Ozil, Aubameyang and Lacazette going through the motions. And it highlighted how piss poor our football club is, and everybody wants to drool over them 3. Go and look at the real deal like the Sunday night. That's what you see. That's what you see when you see teams winning titles and challenging. And do you know what? Not 2004 was when I see it last at Arsenal. That sort of game. Look at the build up to it and everything like, you know what I mean? Well, we ain't got nothing like that no more, boys. Nothing. And it's
Absolutely
painful.
I can't agree more with you.
But it's all blame the fans.
Watching Liverpool against Manchester City the other day was depressing. On the basis that it just shows how far Arsenal are away from Liverpool or Manchester City, like you said, Lee, everyone's working. 20, not just the front threes. 22 men are working, trying to get. You watch Arsenal, and it's just not the same. Dan, the game up at Leicester started off quite well. At 0-0, we were well in it, but the same old Arsenal. Again, I'll say it's a genius name for a podcast. The same old Arsenal. We go 1-0 down, and that's it. There's no way back, and you know that there's no way back, and you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. God, this is getting so repetitive each week, isn't it? But I think for me, the team selection again surprised me, but not so much in a negative way. I feel that the three at the back was fine. If they wanted to change it, for Holding and Chambers coming in was a good thing. I knew that Mesut Ozil would start. I didn't want that kebab meathead as left back, but obviously Tierney, for whatever reason, gets dropped for whatever reason. And then I look at it going forward and think Lacazette and Aubameyang, it's time to shine. He seems to have dropped Pepe out of favour. So the team selection again was a little bit surprising. The one good thing I thought was finally we'll have a balanced midfield. Torreira, Guendouzi and Ozil. And it's exactly the same as the previous week and the previous week before that, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, it looks exactly the same with three at the back as it does with two at the back. It looks exactly the same with whatever fullbacks you play, Bellerin, Tierney, Kolasinac, Chambers, Maitland-Niles. It looks exactly the same in midfield. It's so unbalanced. There's no understanding of who's supposed to be playing where. And you're right. I thought we were okay for the first sort of half. I didn't think it was abysmal. But for me, as soon as the goal went in, you knew exactly what was going to happen. And do you know what? Lee said that it was, and you said it was depressing watching Liverpool and Man City. Do you know what's even more depressing, boys? Watching Chelsea beat Crystal Palace and watching Leicester absolutely annihilate us. Because these are the two teams we're supposed to be ahead of at the moment. These are the two teams that are now ahead of us, and then I've got another two teams that are now in front of us. It's not just Tottenham that have been out jumping us like last season or Man United. They're now behind us, and we've got Leicester and Chelsea ahead of us now. Now, they're 9 points ahead of us, those two, yeah? City at 8. If he's been given another 6 games like we believe, then that could be easily 16, 18, 20 points behind them by the time that he goes, if he does go after those 6 games, because of the 6 fixtures we've got. And one last thing I want to touch on is just the noise comments. I don't think I've ever been insulted so much in all my life. Excuses. To blame the fans, to have the fans be blamed for something that the only positive I can see and the only people that turn up week in, week out and give their all are the fans. The players aren't doing it, the managers aren't doing it, and the board now aren't doing it either. So I look at that situation and I think to myself, you can blame Granit Xhaka and the situation at captain. That's an excuse. We blame Mesut Ozil and Kolasinac for pretty much getting robbed at knife point. Yeah, we blame the situation of the captain. We blame the fans, but who is blaming anybody else but the board and Emery? None of them. Who's going to be there? Arsene Wenger's walked away. Unai Emery will walk away, in my opinion. Yeah, and who comes week in, week out? The fans. We're still going to be there when all these board members move off. We're still going to be turning up week in, week out when Unai Emery leaves. We're still going to be going when we have a different board and a different manager and potentially a different stadium in years to come. Whatever it be, we'll still be the people that are there week in, week out looking like mugs. And I honestly believe that this board treat their fans like absolute shit. I really do. And I'm fed up with it. I'm totally and utterly fed up with it.
Well, as the days progressed, obviously the news comes out that Dave, I think it was David Ornstein reported it that the board, they're not going to listen to the noise from the fans. But I think during the day it's come out that it's actually that's not what has been said. That it's been blown out of all proportion. That David Ornstein used the wrong wording. Came from his source within the club, and apparently Ornstein has reworded it to that. And that's what all the kickoff is about. Lots of people have been discussing it all day. I can't see how any board can come out and say the noise, the fans, we won't listen to the noise that's going on outside. I don't think they'd be stupid. I'd hope they wouldn't be stupid enough to do something like that, because, like you say, Dan, we're going to be here forever. My kids after me, and hopefully their kids after them. It's not just us here now sitting here, and people that go to the game. And another thing I want to say as well, I woke up yesterday morning and I was cross, and I put a hashtag out, empty the Emirates. And didn't quite expect it. didn't quite expect it to take off as it did. Just want to explain people, the abuse I got yesterday. You want people to stay out the ground and this, that, and the other. No, I don't want people to stop going. I don't want people to stop supporting the team. Empty the Emirates can mean lots of things. Don't go in for the first 10 minutes. Don't go in for the first 20 minutes. Leave with half an hour to go. Empty the Emirates. You can't empty something that's not already full. Use your brains there. But I didn't expect it to. I didn't expect it to go quite so well as it did. One of them ones like the touch paper and see what happens. And it went a bit mad, to be honest. Lee, let's come to you and talk about. I want to talk to you about Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang, and Lacazette. Like you said there previously, our three golden boys. Yesterday, I'm reading on Twitter, everyone's blaming Ozil. I think blaming Ozil, but I think what is being proved here is that we are no better or no worse we're no better with him in the team, and we're no worse with him out of the team. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But I'm going to stick up for him slightly here, because I honestly, when I looked at that team on Saturday, when it came out, I thought, yes, this team is set up to make Mesut Ozil perform. You know what I mean? Two players in behind him, he has to do, and he's got Aubameyang and Lacazette up front, options. But I think that, if I might be being stupid and all that, but I think Emery's like, let's plot now. How can I make Mesut Ozil ruin him? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put him in the team, and then I'll put the two best players, our best attacking options, I'll play them real wide. So when he gets the ball in the middle, he ain't got no one to pass to. And everybody now will criticise him because there's no options. And that's exactly what happened. We had it set up properly on the team sheet, but when it was set up, we had Aubameyang and Lacazette tracking their fullbacks. That was a job. So when Mesut Ozil got the ball in midfield, he didn't have really a lot of options. Now I'm going to be honest. I thought first half we done okay. Good half away from home, kept a clean sheet. For 20 minutes into the second half, I thought we were playing quite well. We win it for them, got the goal which was offside, and then as soon as they put it on us and our defence buckled, they scored, and from that moment on, it could have been a cricket score. Capitulated, and I see our three players up front completely go missing. Now people keep going on about Lacazette this and Lacazette that. How many more good chances are you going to miss? How many more before someone calls him out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, but he's a golden boy. Another chance missed by him, Since he's come back from injury, Craig, right, he has not looked the same player, right? So then my question is, well, he ain't played that very, very well, but, everybody wants him in the team. Get that. But then I think to myself, you've got a young kid banging on the door. What more can he do when you've got an half-fit Lacazette? As for Aubameyang, our club captain, pulling out of tackles when we're 1-0 down, then when they go on and score their second goal. But we're not allowed to talk about that because he's Aubameyang. You know what I mean? But if Mustafi would have pulled out of that tackle, or dare I say it, Granit Xhaka would have pulled out of that tackle, it would have been a free-for-all.
Yeah.
An absolute free-for-all. Or Kolasinac, free-for-all. Sorry, Dan. An absolute free-for-all. You know what I mean? It would have been. Right? But because it's Aubameyang, we'll let that swerve. Let it swerve some. He's not there to tackle. He's not there to work hard. He's just there to score goals. Tell that to other top class strikers in the world of football, i.e. Suarez. Look what he done. He scored goals but worked hard. I can go back to probably one of the best strikers I've ever seen. Ian Rush was renowned for his work rate, and he was in the best team in the world. Thierry Henry worked hard at times. You know what I mean? Like when he had to grind out a result, he was working. And so don't give me that about them. You know, Ozil pulling out of tackles. There's fans going mad. You know what I mean? Like you know, because he's pulling out of tackles, boys. You know what I mean? I don't see that. I watched Mane yesterday. You know what I mean? Not the most glamorous player in the world, right? You know what I mean? Put his body on the line all the game, right? And then I hear people turn around and say, "Oh, well, but Pepe ain't had a pre-season. Nor's that man. And look what he's doing week in, week out."
Look at Firmino as well, Lee. How hard he works.
All at works. Always looking for excuses. Always looking for things to get us out of that. Now, my ex-manager, I've got to bring him up today, Steve, texted me yesterday and said to me, "You keep having a go." He had a go at me. Cheek. Had a go at me for keep having a go at Emery. You're having a go at Emery all the time. You're having a go at Emery all the time. Like, yeah. The players ain't good enough, right? And I'm looking at him and the guy goes, right, there's not one Arsenal player. This is what he told me yesterday. Just have a little think about this. There's not one Arsenal player that's playing for a top international team at this moment in time. Not one.
I'm going through them now. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, could you call Uruguay a top international team? I don't know.
Is Lacazette and Guendouzi at France or not?
Yeah, Lacazette he's not in the side. He's not been picked.
He's not getting picked today. Yeah, Guendouzi,
I think Guendouzi was in the under-21s, but has been picked for the senior side today, but still not made a debut. You go through the back.
It? We're sitting there we're struggling. They're the only two I could think of.
Scotland are a top international side, aren't they?
Well, you know what I mean? But then you go back to our winning teams. France, World Cup winners. Spain, World Cup winners.
Yeah, full of Arsenal players, yeah.
Dutch players. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at it and I think, do you know, what a fantastic point. What a fantastic point.
Remember the headline when France won the World Cup, Arsenal win the World Cup.
So there you go, like, you know what I mean? Ceballos, yes, that's a good call. Someone's just put in the chat there, Ceballos plays for Spain, yeah. So one. So, like, it's a good call.
Just talking about Torreira, I just want to bring this in because it's a donation question. Thank you, Bill, for your donation, mate. Thank you very much. Talking of Lucas Torreira, who I just mentioned, is he good enough for DM, or is it that he's being coached poorly? Dan,
I think he is good enough for DM. I think it's a good question. I think he is good enough for DM, but we haven't seen him play there for probably a full season now. I think he played there for about the first 6 months of last season. And then he scored against Spurs, and all of a sudden he's a striker.
Yeah.
And then that's since then. I don't think he's played there once, has he? I mean, when he's had to play there, he's still trying to bomb it forward. And for me, I like his attributes. I think he's got all the attributes to play in the defensive midfield role. I don't think he's the biggest. I don't think he's the strongest, but he's a little battler. He's tenacious. He's a little ball terrier. That's why we bought him, because he was doing it for Uruguay and for Sampdoria. So all of a sudden, Emery throws his toys out his pram and says, "Oh, I wanted Nzonzi, so we're going to put him up front." That's not how it works. I actually thought we were playing better football with Lucas Torreira as a DM. So I don't understand why all of a sudden Unai Emery was doing a Sarri and Kante with Torreira, because I just couldn't make any sense of it. I wouldn't mind so much if we had an absolute beast at the back who was the DM, and you think, yeah, Torreira's not going to get ahead of him. We've got nobody in defensive midfield. And if he's not going to play Torreira there, sell him. Yeah. Don't waste him and ruin him as a player.
Let's not forget when he first came here, what a breath of fresh air he was.
I thought so. And I saw him in the World Cup and I thought he was great as well. So it was a really exciting signing, Craig. And I thought, do you know what? This is getting to the point now where he could even be the little player that we've needed for a long, long time. He wasn't going to be a Vieira because of his presence. But when we had Flamini and Coquelin and players like that, you're thinking, let's get someone in who's got a bit more battle and a bit more bite. This lad looked like the main sort of player. And actually, as much as I've slated Granit Xhaka, I didn't think Granit Xhaka was so bad when Torreira was a DM. Because last season against Liverpool at home, I thought the pair of them were the best players on the pitch. Yeah. So you can bring that into the equation as well. And, as much as I do feel we need a DM, if you're not going to play Torreira there, I think he's got to get rid of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee, coming back to this international thing, I just spotted this coming. This is a really good point. From Hambo Gumbel. What a name. Great name.
Great name.
Leicester are a team. Arsenal are a bunch of individuals. Hard to disagree.
Yeah, I'll totally agree. Look, listen, you know, people can put things what they want about, like, you know what I mean. Arsenal is always had top international footballers. That's the point we're trying to make here. The thing is, what I tell you what got it really upset me on Saturday. Just everything. I watched a team called Leicester City that have never done anything in my lifetime up until a few years ago when they won the title. Have always been an up and down side. Blah 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 blah. Brought on some very, very good players through their times, like Gary Lineker, Alan Smith, played well like that. All of a sudden, I'm sitting there on Sunday or standing there Saturday night, watching a team play organised football with a purpose, know exactly what they're doing, and playing to and if I'll be honest, I was jealous of it. I then gets home and starts watching Match of the Day. I watched Sheffield United against Tottenham, you know, like the long extended highlights. I thought I'd have a little watch of that, like, you know, because I watch a team with players in their team that would dream about playing for Arsenal. I watched them play with a better shape, a better formation, defend better than I've ever seen any team under Unai Emery play. Sheffield United. Why can't this manager do the same? Now, I remember 6 months ago, Leicester being in total disarray when there was a laughing stock when Vardy come running on to take a penalty at Wembley when they was losing 1-0 to Tottenham with 5 minutes to go. He runs on, you know what I mean? It was comedy, boys. It was absolutely comedy, running on the pitch. I said to whoever was in the house at the time, he's going to miss this. It's comedy. He missed it. The club was a joke, right? Look at them now with a new manager. But it took our manager 18 months and we're still a joke.
Yeah.
We're still a joke. And
sorry, Lee, just touching on that in terms of Leicester before you move on there, because I was thinking about this and I've had to just write it down now. I don't know if you boys disagree with what I'm about to say, but I'm just going to read out 7 players, all right, from Leicester. Kasper Schmeichel, Ben Chilwell, Soyuncu, Johnny Evans, Tielemans, James Maddison, and Wilfred Ndidi. Would you have any of those in the Arsenal side? Because I would say that all 7 of them would get into our first team. I'm not even joking.
I'd have 6. I wouldn't have Kasper Schmeichel, but I'd have the others. I think Leno's a better goalkeeper than Schmeichel. It's just that Leno's got a poor defence in front of him.
That's a fair point. And I wouldn't disagree or say that. But I like Kasper Schmeichel, I must admit. But I wouldn't say that Leno was better or worse. But I look at them names in front of me, and do you know what? They would all walk into our side, not even come close. They would walk into our side. Wilfred Ndidi looks the midfielder that we're looking for, that we need. Ben Chilwell is a better left back than that absolute moron at left back that we've got in terms of Kolasinac, not Tierney, by the way. I think that Maddison, Tielemans, and Ndidi would all get into our midfield free. I think that Johnny Evans and Soyuncu would definitely replace David Luiz and Socrates, and I think that Kasper Schmeichel could be a hit or miss. So for me, I look at those players and I think, wow.
There's 2 players there though that you mentioned that we turned down. I don't know if Arsenal turned their noses up at them, but the fans certainly did. And that is it Soyuncu and
Johnny Evans?
Johnny Evans. Now look where they are.
We look fools now, don't we? Because I didn't want Johnny Evans. I didn't want him at all. But
it's only today we see that Liverpool, European champions and top of the league, want Ryan Fraser. But no, he wasn't good enough for the Arsenal. Lee, what you got to say about that, Lee? Ryan Fraser looks, it's only rumours at the moment. What Ryan Fraser turns up at Liverpool? Why do we turn our noses up at these kind of players?
Because Liverpool he's not going to walk into their team straight away, is he? He's going to be a squad player at there. The fact it's going to be very, very hard for Liverpool to recruit players in the next few seasons because, that they're going there as backup players, you know what I mean? So that it's a little bit different. You're asking like someone like Fraser would walk into our side at the moment. That's the difference. There is a difference, like 10 years ago, it was different for us. Johnny Evans, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Like we can say whatever and all that. Let's get that right about Johnny Evans, right? Yeah. A Manchester United reject. comes to we go to the Emirates, this brand new spanking new stadium, which have millions and millions of pounds, and we get Johnny Evans. We should be looking above Johnny Evans, right? Not wasting money on Mustafi, whoever done that, you know what I mean? Like, but like, you know, at the end of the day, who would you rather have, Van Dijk or Johnny Evans?
But
You know
we've
what I mean?
had
It's a lot to do with recruitment.
We've had this argument before, me and you, right? We've had this argument about players coming to Arsenal. And I'll stand by what I said. Why would Virgil van Dijk want to come to Arsenal? Why?
Because it's Arsenal. I keep
but that doesn't.
arguing
That
that
doesn't
fact,
yeah, but that doesn't. That
well,
doesn't.
it's going to get to a stage where no one's going to come to Arsenal at some sort of state. I'll be honest, like, you know. I look at let's get this right. Let's get this right. I'm going to get into an argument. So everybody in our fan base 3 or 4 weeks ago was saying, "Wait till we get Holding back. Wait till we get Bellerin back. Wait till the whole lot are not good enough." Right? Johnny Evans is better than Holding will ever be. We know that. We know that. Right? But this is what we're saying. This is what Arsenal fans are holding on to. Arsenal fans coming out of Leicester on Saturday night. Well, we all 2-0. We all thought it was going to be 3 or 4. So it ain't that bad, is it? This is what we're getting to. The mentality of the fans has been brainwashed through and through and through. My dad turned around the other day, and said about Leno, is he a top class goal? Don't know, right? But when was the last time Arsenal had a top class goalkeeper? How long ago? How many years has it gone?
15 years.
Through the years, I've been an Arsenal fan. Arsenal have always had a decent goalkeeper. 15 years now, we're saying, before we've had a top goalkeeper. Whose fault is that? Is that the fans' fault?
It's the same. We haven't replaced Sol Campbell or Patrick Vieira. They left 15 years ago.
15
years ago they left.
Replaced with a decent centre half for 15 years, right? And now everybody's saying, well, yeah, because we're Johnny Evans. The reason we're all saying Johnny Evans was because recruitment has been piss poor for so long, right?
Again, I think as well, it's got to come down to the manager as well with who he's got in front of him and how he's playing. Because the reason that these Leicester lads look so good is because Brendan Rodgers has got them playing slick football. He's coaching them. Everybody knows their job. They've got a philosophy. They've got a style. They look good going forward. They can defend. They have an organised midfield which is balanced. And Wilfred Ndidi, for me, is one of the most underrated players in that team because everything goes through him. He's a little anchor in that midfield. And without him, you wouldn't have Harvey Barnes running down that wing. You wouldn't have Mark Albrighton. You wouldn't have Demarai Gray. You wouldn't have Vardy banging him in, or Tillemans or Maddison linking up with him. So for me, it's all about the coaching. And again, I don't want to slate Emery again too much. I've done enough of that over the week, so I'm blaming the board now. And for me, this needs to change now because we cannot deal with it.
A great scenario about Arsenal, right, and their fans, right. What happens if we'd have bought Perez from Newcastle instead of Pepe?
Oh, everyone would have been moaning.
Oh, everybody would be going mad, wouldn't they? Like, but he's 10 times at the moment better player than Pepe. You know, it's about recruitment, Craig. It ain't necessarily about the money that they spend. You know, Johnny Evans would do a great job for us at the moment. Why? Because he's a no-nonsense defender.
Yeah, but that's why I'm going
job for us because we haven't got a no-nonsense defender. You know, whoever recruited David Luiz needs to be sacked. Just for that, let alone. Just for that alone. Because you look at the situation, we want defenders. But what they've looked at is as a footballing defender, right? We can't even play football, right? We don't play no football no more, right? But we don't defend neither. What was he doing? You know what I mean? I heard, and I don't know if this is right, he was given as our man in the match on Saturday.
Who was? David Luiz?
I don't know. Someone told me that. Fucking laughable. Laughable.
That can't be right. That can't be right.
The recruitment. I think Tony Adams, I haven't seen it because I was obviously at the game. Tony Adams was going on about recruitment of things as well, like, you know. Yeah, now I get it. I know, I get it. It's going to be hard. The two teams that can recruit really well on a consistent basis will be, after this year's season, Chelsea and Manchester City, because they've got the money. Right, and don't get me wrong here. I'm not having it's not Manchester City. All the money that they've spent, their defending yesterday was comical, right? And they had £200 million worth of defenders in the stand, so something's getting wrong from them as well. It's not just Arsenal that are getting it wrong, but Arsenal need to make the right decisions, Craig. They need to make the right decisions at their players. You know, we as a club, we needed somebody like Gary Cahill, that sort of type of player. We get David Luiz. All right. Not one of those players can defend. Vardy, top scorer in the Premier League. Who's picking him up on Saturday for their goal? He's just standing on the 7 yards out, no one near him.
Better in
Now,
Chambers,
is that Emery's fault? You know, the best defender we've got at the moment is Chambers. He's been our best defender, consistently best defender, right? And he was at Fulham last year, right? And I'll tell you what, this now, he may not be the greatest defender in the world, but that Bellerin on Saturday, if he ain't good enough or whatever, that's the different thing. But that boy works his absolute socks off at the end of the day, and I can appreciate that. As a fan, I'm happy with that. If you can't be good enough, then make sure you work hard enough. And the fact of the matter is, I don't give it what everybody says on here. Aubameyang ain't good enough. Lacazette ain't good enough. But whatever, they ain't all good enough. But then, so work as hard as you possibly can, and things may happen. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm seeing too many Arsenal players stroll around because they think it's all great to be in the Arsenal shirt. And I'm going to say something else now. Like, you know, I thought I'd never say it. I've seen these last couple of games that with Xhaka in or out the side, it's still abysmal. That be in front of the defence, the setup in front of it, and the setup behind it is abysmal. How many more games? You know, this go on about Emery here, like, you know what I mean? How many more games is he going to be relying on David Luiz? How many more games? Your job's on the line. Are you going to rely on David Luiz?
Certainly not. Certainly not. Just so I can let you cool down a bit. 1 second. I'm
fuming by it all on. I'm fuming by it. Sorry, I can't. You know what I mean? I'm angry.
It's good, man. It's good. Everyone is, mate.
And I'm fed up with everybody. You know, it's all right. It's all right, isn't it, for the club to slag off the fans. It's all right for them to have their little slidey little digs. But when we do it, oh, hell breaks loose. Oh, hell, let's blame this, let's blame that. Let's blame it on that, you know what I mean? But all of a sudden, when it's on you know, they're all right to criticise us, you know what I mean? And I can tell you that now, anybody who was in that stand against Leicester, give it their all on Saturday. You cannot criticise the fans for the way they supported that team.
You were there, obviously. What did the fans? The players do afterwards? Did they even come up to the fans? Did they?
They did.
All right, cool.
Couldn't wait to get off because they was wet. You know what I mean? The likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette. You know, listen, I've got a lot of time for them, Lacazette. I love the way he works hard and all that, but unfortunately, he's not quite fit enough at the moment. Aubameyang is captain of this football club. I expect my captain to work his socks off. I have been brought up on captains like Pat Rice, Frank McClintock, just slightly before Martin Mayer, I don't know, probably I'm going to mention him. Tony Adams, Kenny Sampson, right? You know what I mean? Wasn't probably the greatest captain in the world, but top player, right? I've then had players, Patrick Vieira, fantastic captain, led by example and all that. And I even go and say people like Robin van Persie, you know everything about him and all that, led by example when he played for the football club, got us out of many of a hole, worked hard and whatever. I know what everybody thinks about him now. I don't, but everybody. This is another thing I'm going to get onto now. People on there, I don't blame it if Lacazette and Aubameyang want to leave, but you're soon criticising Van Persie when he done the same thing. You know what I mean? Get a grip. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. If Aubameyang goes, it's the same reasons that Van Persie left this football club. But Van Persie's out of order because he went to Man United. So be it, he's gone to Man United. You know what I mean? Sanchez, another one, had bad games for us. But I tell you what, put his body on the line for us until the last season. But for 3 seasons, worked. I don't see that from our players. And I don't see it from captains no more, like, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day,
that's another argument. The captaincy is another argument. The captaincy at Arsenal is a disgrace at the moment. I just want to bring in these donation questions. Alex, thank you very much for your kind donation, mate. The stadium was almost empty during the end of the 17-18 season, and this caused the board to act against Wenger. that's questionable. But I see where you're coming from. Should we do the same now? That comes in from Alex, and thanks for your donation, mate. That's what I was talking about yesterday with the Empty the Emirates hashtag. I don't know, is Raul... I sat here tonight and I tweeted out that Raul is Ivan Gazidis in disguise. But then once I sat back and I actually think about it, is this an underarm comment from Raul saying that he's got that they're backing him? Do you really think, Dan, that they're backing him? Is this a comment from Raul to try and keep a bit of I don't know, calm, if that does keep calm, instead of him coming out and saying, yeah, right, that's it, we're looking for a new manager, and Unai Emery's got 3 games and we're going to sack him. What do you reckon?
I would like to think that this board are not weak. I really would. We don't know what the truth is, do we? We don't know if they do back him or if they don't. We don't know if they're feeding journalists with a load of toot. They're all watching what we're watching, boys. Edu can't be happy. Raul can't be happy with that. Vinay can't be happy with that. I am sure that deep down, Josh Kroenke and Stan Kroenke cannot be happy with Arsenal losing. Now, a lot of people sit there and say they don't give a damn, they don't care. But they can't be happy with their business as it is, because they must want, surely, as an owner of a football club, they must want some progress. They might not care if we win everything and they get the extra money for that way because they're earning enough money as it is. But surely they want to see a business that's theirs progress. At the moment, we've gone backwards, and backwards very quickly, in my opinion. So I listen to it and I think to myself, surely they know what we're seeing. Surely they can see what we're seeing. Surely they know this is not right. So it's time to do something about it. So for me, I don't know what the answer is in terms of fans. I go back to that question that Alex says about us leaving the stadium. I personally am going to carry on going to games because football, that 90 minutes is just a bit of it for me. A part of it for me is going to football with my dad, seeing my mates, having a beer, and the social side of it, as well as that 90 minutes of football. So yes, I will still go to games. But for me, when I look at what happens in every single game at the moment, I do not enjoy it. I do not enjoy that 90 minutes of football. And that is because of one man in Unai Emery, but it's also because we have, in my opinion, a weak board. Let's get a ruthless board involved. If this board is telling us to be excited, then this guy is not going to excite us. Unai Emery is not going to excite us fans. So for me, let's have a look at what we can do about this, as fans. This we care, do you? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? They all shouting about it, getting excited about it. Josh Kroenke comes up. We sign Pepe and everyone gets quiet. Oh, it's got us the Pepe that we wanted. It's got us the transfer we wanted. Let's go quiet. Where are they now? Then I hear a statement saying they've never left us. They've always been there. If we're not, we've just gone quiet for a while because Emery is being given time and the board are going to give him time. We're going to come out after Christmas. After Christmas is too late. We're going to be 20 points behind top 4 of Leicester and Chelsea if this carries on very quickly. The next 6 games we've got is not looking rosy, in my opinion. There's 3 that I feel we should win. I don't think we're going to win. I think we've got Southampton, Brighton and Norwich. I reckon a point against Southampton, a point against Brighton and a loss against Norwich the way we're playing. That's my honest opinion of that. I wouldn't be surprised if we picked up 2 points, And people will say, we'll get 9 points. They're in the relegation zone. Do you know what? We're playing like relegation zone. I looked at a stat the other day saying that we took 2 points from 12, Crystal Palace took 1 point from 12. Who was that 1 point against?
Yeah, who was the point against? Yep, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
crazy.
Lee, I heard through the grapevine today, I don't know if you heard the same thing. I hear through the grapevine today that Unai Emery has got 6 games to save his job. We were talking about it earlier before we came on there. 6 games to save his job. Do you think he can turn it round, Lee?
No.
He's done.
Done. Totally done.
Just get rid.
Get rid. But at the end of the day, the board are going to back him, so that's it. You have to go along with that. Like 6 games. Well, there's so many things wrong about that. It's unreal. If Dan just said it, they're watching what we're watching. Edu's been a professional footballer. He'll know more, than anybody when you're not playing for the manager. and you can clearly see the players are not playing for the manager. You know, when I say that, you know, I've got to go back to about working hard and things like that. It's the least you expect him to do. Ray Parlour wasn't one of the greatest footballers ever, but every time he went out on the pitch, he gave it 100%, and that is why he is loved and respected by every Arsenal fan. Yeah, we are not getting that from these players now. There's either two reasons for that. One, that they're not doing it for the manager, or two, they just can't be bothered. So whatever way you look at it, something's got to give. Either get rid of the players or get rid of the manager. Now, he has had long enough to sort this shambolic defending out, and he hasn't done it, Craig. So what's another 6 games going to do? You know what I mean? What's another 6 games going to do?
I'm really sorry now to. It's just that it's right in front. It's right in front of me. Aubameyang, just on Instagram, that he's just arrived in Gabon, and he is looking through his social media feeds. I've just arrived in Gabon, and I've heard lots of bullshit. I'll talk with who I want, whenever I want. With who I want, whenever I want, wherever I want. Basically saying, don't tell me who I can and cannot speak to. Live on his Instagram. That is going to cause...
It's getting toxic,
that
boys.
is going to cause a stir now. Basically, you know, unless you've been living under a rock, we all know that Troops is friends... Well, is it? Well, I suppose he is. Very pally with Aubameyang. Aubameyang gives him signed shirts. They talk to each other on social media. Now, who is any of us to say that Aubameyang, or the club, why can't Aubameyang talk to a fan just because he's in the spotlight? I know Troops. Lee knows Troops. Dan, I don't know if you know him. Troops is one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and I totally mean that. He is so nice. He might be different on camera, but let me tell you now, when you're sitting down with him having a drink, he's one of the nicest blokes I've ever met. He's being brought into all this now for what? For having a friendship with a footballer. Lee, that's going to cause a stir.
Oh well, listen. Why can't? There's a great thing called social media if it's used properly. Now, at the end of the day, yes, we all know Aubameyang watches Arsenal fan TV. We know that, right? Yeah. What I'm saying is, on that point of view, is so from social media, they've got to connect, they've hooked up, and they get on. So that's something that happens. So, you know, I can't see a problem in that. Do I want to be friends with Arsenal players and all that? I find it very difficult if I was, because I feel like, you know, you have to criticise them and all that, like, but and when they do well or whatever, like, so I've got a different thing at take of it, like, you know. But look, I've met Xhaka. He's the nicest fella you ever wish to meet, like, you know what I mean? I have to say that, regardless of what you think of him as a footballer. And at the end of the day, these two individuals have got on social media through whatever. Yes, because he plays for Arsenal, that there's a connection, and they get on. And they've obviously met. If you meet someone and you don't get on with them, then that's the end of it, isn't it? But obviously they've had a connection, and that's it. So what? You know what I mean? I think a lot of it to do with his jealousy, because everybody would love to have an Arsenal fan as a mate and all that. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
You know,
don't you think?
Be friends with him. You're in. Lee or Potsy, you know, come into my box and all that. Were you going to go? Nah, don't upset me.
You're all right.
You know what I mean? That's all right. Of course you're going to. You know what I mean?
Better not, just in case I upset anyone on Twitter. You know how it is. Yeah.
But you know, and that's a great thing about social media. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for social media, I would have never have got in contact with Kevin. You know what I mean? Now, me and Kevin now are great mates. Nothing to do with social media and things like that. Is that we just had a connection. We just get on, and that's it now. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's how it is now. But that social media. If it wasn't for social media, I'd never have met Kevin. You know what I mean? So there are good things that, and it's brought them two together. And I'm sorry, like, what Arsenal going to say? Like, you can't go out with a girlfriend now because we don't agree with it or whatever. It's You know, listen.
Excuses, mate.
Do you
That's
think-
what it is.
Obviously, Arsenal don't like. Arsenal obviously don't like the players doing this, and obviously I would put a £10 bet that Arsenal don't like Arsenal fan TV either. Is that because with social media, the fans can get more inside the club and find out more about the club? With people who claim that they're in the know, people who claim that they know people inside Arsenal and they get all their transfer news and this, that, and the other. Would that have something to do with it, Dan?
Potentially. I mean, listen, I am so sick to death of these excuses, Craig, right? We've had Koscielny. That was an issue. That was an excuse. Yeah, Koscielny, we treated us so badly. The players have been affected by that. Granit Xhaka, the players have been affected by that. The captaincy, the players have been affected. Social media, Arsenal fan TV, Arsenal fans are just noise. This is all becoming an absolute disgrace because what's happening on the pitch is what matters. And at the moment, it's going a bit wrong. And, it can't be the players' fault. It can't be the manager's fault. It can't be the board's fault. Let's blame everybody but those people. That is what it looks like to me. And this is a situation we're getting. Now, I heard something yesterday, and I think I sent it to you, Craig and Lee, was that the board have said or has come out and said, listen, we've got some bad things that have happened to us the last few months. We've got to give these people time. We've just played a team that have beaten us 2-0, whose chairman died in a helicopter crash. So don't give me all these awful excuses about how bad it is at Arsenal at the moment, because that was absolutely horrendous what happened there last year. Yeah, that chairman was unbelievable for that club and won the league with them, was absolutely superb, right? And that happened, which was an absolutely devastating thing. So why is it all of a sudden that Arsenal are sitting there with problems when Leicester have had that absolute tragedy happen and they've got on with things and they're winning for that chairman now? How proud must them players be? How proud must them fans be for turning that around with such an absolute catastrophe that happened, at that football club? And now look at them, second in the league. Look how many top teams they've played in the top half. They've played Arsenal and beat them. They've played Liverpool. They've played Tottenham and beat them. They've played United. They've played Chelsea. And they're second in the league. Unbelievable what that manager's done. Unbelievable what that club had done since that tragedy. And then we're moaning about social media and troops being friends in the box with Aubameyang. Have a laugh. Sort your lives out.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't say it better myself.
Just going on to that, Craig, you know what I mean? Russ has just put up there about social media, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I did meet Russ through social media. We go to all games and all that together now. But also, if it weren't for social media, we wouldn't be doing this now. You know what I mean? Like,
I get that.
You live in Ireland, you know what I mean? But we've become mates through social media. Dan, I would have never met Dan. With me and Dan now meet up and have a few beers before the games and all that through social media. So from my point of view, you know, it's great that, you know, for Aubameyang and Troops to be friends through social media, through the Arsenal thing. But I've got just as much great things out of that by the people that I've met through social media. Red Ken, I've got to say, is another one that I met through social media, like, you know. And these two guys, Russ and Ken, that I've met on social media, are a stone's throw from where we live, you know what I mean? Like, but all these years, been going to football, didn't know that they was living around the corner. We all go to games together now, you know, and because of social media. So I don't see why people would knock that. You know?
I'm looking at it from the club's point of view, right? Here we have, you know, let's switch it around. We've spoken about why we've spoken about why we think it's not a problem. But now let's look at it at the club's point of view. We have the Arsenal captain liking posts on Instagram or Twitter about sack the manager and, you know, Granit Xhaka should leave. I mean, if you're you know, say for example, you know, you're the chairman of Arsenal and one of your players is liking these posts, that's not good.
No, I'm gonna agree with that. I don't think that he should be posting things on things like that. Also, from an Arsenal point of view, from their point of view, when you've got that same fella coming up and effing and blinding about the previous captain, it doesn't look good neither. So I get that, but that doesn't mean to say that you can't be friends with him, Craig.
No,
you know
absolutely not. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not exactly. There is a difference.
There is a difference.
What I mean.
I agree that that Aubameyang shouldn't interact with all of that sort of stuff, and maybe perhaps shouldn't interact with it. Full stop. I agree. Shouldn't like or dislike anything. But
now does Aubameyang? There's a chance now, knowing our fan base, that he is now going to become a scapegoat, because now what we're going to get now is from Twitter is, Aubameyang likes Arsenal fan TV. What melt? They don't represent me as a fan. All that kind of crack. It's going to be another reason to scapegoat another player. So we've gone from Mustafi being a bad defender and him getting the abuse. We've gone from Granit Xhaka. Before that we had Ozil. Then it went on to Mustafi. Now it's Granit Xhaka because of what he did. Now, next, Aubameyang has put a post out saying, "I'll talk to who I want when I want, this, that, and the other." Is he now an open target to be the next scapegoat?
Well, no, because I think that he's big enough to be able to handle that, more unpopular. The one thing that worries me about it though is that I don't know if you remember after Chelsea. I think we lost to Chelsea a couple of seasons ago. There was someone put on their old Wenger out, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain liked it. Do you remember? And then he said, I accidentally press the like button, which can happen at times. You know what I mean? It can happen. And then within a year or a year and a half, he's gone. You know what I mean? So it could be that Aubameyang, I'm trying to circuit around the other way, is using it as another tool to maybe like upset people, and so that he can get out. Who knows? You don't know, do you? Like, I don't think that it would be, but I feel that if they was to, Arsenal fan TV is there for the fans. It's there for fans to voice an opinion. And I know what we're gonna. It's a different debate. I know. You get people on there, and it doesn't represent any Arsenal fan. All it does is represent you and what your feelings are. And and if you get people that share, it's like this program. When we do this, it's only our opinions, and if people like them, it's great. Like, you know what I mean? So these things can go. I do think with Arsenal fan TV, there's a lot of jealousy to it. There's a lot of whatever it goes with it. There's good things and bad things, as we know. But the fact of the matter is the players do watch it, you know what I mean? And if you're a fan and you can get to say something and it's going to get to the players, what a fantastic tool that is, don't you think? Or is it just me, you know what I mean?
Depends what you're saying, I suppose. Like I said, 10 minutes ago, I said that, Troop's one of the nicest blokes I've ever met, but I totally disagree with the way he handled himself with the Granit Xhaka video.
It was, which he has apologised for.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just using it, of course, and I know he's apologised for it, but I'm just using it as an example of why you perhaps wouldn't want your players to see what's being said about them.
I just think it's silly that you take Coronation Street. I don't like that. Don't watch it. I don't slag it off.
Yes,
I just don't watch it.
Yeah, brilliant.
I don't watch
point.
it.
Yeah.
So if you don't like Arsenal fan TV, don't watch it.
Yeah, I watched two.
Yeah.
I watch Arsenal fan TV. I watched 2 interviews. Everyone could probably guess who the 2 are: Lee and Graham. And
I watch the same 2 people.
I watched Lee and Graham, and that's it. Done.
Same here, mate. Same here. And
I used to watch them all.
What you've got with that now, and the problem that you've got is that there are 4 or 5 players on 4 or 5 people on there. There are people that are going to just watch those certain people, like yourself. You say, "Oh, you watch 2." There'd be like another. There's thousands and thousands of people that will just watch Troops and DT and no one else.
Of course,
right?
That's fine. That's up to them.
No, but my point is, they watch them 2, and then they take their. Well, that's what Arsenal fan TV is like. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And it's not. There are other people on there, and if you take the that side of it, there's people like I think Mo talks very, very well on there, and there's people with less people. Like there's a fella called Ben on there that talks quite sensibly, but it gets not the views of, say, someone like Troops and DT. So everybody sort of says, oh, that's what it's like. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, look, I love Claude to death. Me and Claude have got a great relationship. Like, I don't agree with everything that he says, and he doesn't agree with everything I say. So that doesn't mean to say that I'm right or he's right. It's just opinions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's opinions, and you know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of the guys, a lot of these people out there are just watching DT and Troops, and they're thinking, oh, that's what Arsenal.
They're making their judgment from that. Yeah.
Making their judgment from that. And if you go into it, like, you know, there's some, like, you know, Kenny Ken, and, you know, another great one that says a few things. There's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things that go out of that when they do their shows, which are quite interesting, which are not. So don't forget, you know, when you go into, like, me and Kevin are going in the studio tomorrow, we calm down a little bit more from straight after the game. So you're getting a completely different reaction from me tomorrow than what you do after the game, because it's not so raw.
Emotions, yeah.
It's emotions of it all, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, now it takes people days to get over Arsenal games. You know what I mean? Some of the guys on the minibus are all having a laugh and a joke after the game. I'm not like that. I'll sit there and I'm very, very moody. But everybody's different, Craig. Everybody's different, Dan. You know what I mean? So people.
Well, you look at us on here. Me, you know, it's quite obvious that me and Harry don't agree all the time. Harry don't agree with what I say half the time, and I don't agree with him.
I don't get
I've got
that.
a great relationship with Harry. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got a great relationship with Harry. We're great mates. We're all Arsenal fans at the end of the day. Why is it a massive issue? This is what this is about. This is a debate. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. They don't have to agree with it all. So why people are getting so over the top about it is madness. And
Absolutely.
for me, there's enough going wrong on the pitch. Let's talk about what's going on the pitch. Let's not hype up everything out of it, because it's getting stupid now with this board making excuses up and everyone going on about Instagram and social media.
Before we move on to, obviously we've still got a bit to talk to, a bit to talk about. I hope you two are all right to stay around. You are,
yeah, absolutely.
Just one thing, Craig. I'll just say something, because someone's put a great point up there. Just come up on the chat. Ian Wright and Kevin Campbell both like Arsenal Fan TV, right? They watch it and everything like that. Now, if they was in their day, going back into the 90s when they was playing and Arsenal Fan TV was about, they'd be watching it and on it and interacting with players. You know what I mean? It just wasn't there when they was about. But they. But
this has always been my argument. Arsenal Fan TV has always been about, but just not recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right? It's as simple as that. You come out of Ivory and you go in the pub and you order your pint and you say, fucking hell, Perry Groves was shit today, wasn't he? You know? Or fucking Ian Wright or fucking Kevin Campbell. God, they were shit. But it just weren't being recorded. You were only speaking to 3 or 4 of your mates. No one was taking any notice.
And do you know what makes that funny?
No one was coming over to you and tapping you on the shoulder and saying, you're talking shit.
Yeah.
Or only talking like that so everyone comes round and everyone likes you and all this kind of stuff.
It's great that you said that, because I'll tell you what, if you was in the pub and you turn around and say Perry Groves was shit today or Paul Merson was shit, and they walked in, you go, well, hello, Paul, do you want a drink? do you know what I mean? But that's how it was. You know what I mean? I think people are taking it far too serious to what it actually is. Like, it's embarrassing us all and things like that, blah, 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 blah. You know, I get that, but there are times when, you know, that's what fans are. Fans are being fans. Now, I get what people are saying, that sometimes maybe it's not real. You know, people are on there to make their own agendas and all that. But there are genuine fans on there, and that's how they feel on the day. But it doesn't necessarily mean to say what they're going to feel like the next day. And, you know, listen, I slag off players left, right and centre, you know, if they miss it. Listen, if Banging misses from 2 yards and then he bangs in the winner against Tottenham the next game, you're going to go mad. You know what I mean? Like, do you not think I weren't criticising him when he missed that penalty against Spurs?
Yeah.
You know, of course, that's what football's about. You know, fans are fickle. You know what I mean? They are fickle.
They are. Just bring this one up here. Look at that. Afternoon from Los Angeles. Goodness me. Good afternoon to you too, Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Los Angeles, blimey.
Used to live in England, Lawrence.
God, you know everyone.
Yeah, he's an expat out there. Yes.
just bring in someone random from the chat and I know it. Oh,
Well, we go way back.
oh yeah. Christ. Right, before we move on to obviously what we're going to talk about the manager next, get some questions in the comment box for us. I got a comment on because I read all your comments on YouTube. Don't think that I don't, because I do. And someone said that I should get the questions up and just do a segment where we're answering questions instead of bringing in the questions. But obviously, while we're doing the podcast, if people are making donation questions, then I'm always going to bring that in because they should. How can I put this?
Get priority or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, they get priority, but I don't want to make it like, oh, you must pay for a question. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if they are giving us £1 or £2 to ask a question, then I'm obviously going to bring them to the front. So get your questions into the chat box, and I'll ask as many as I can while we're chatting. But okay, Dan, let's go on to it now. We've all said during the week in our WhatsApp group that we are now not blaming Unai Emery.
Nope.
We know that we all know he's out of his depth. I think the whole fan base know that he's out of his depth. I'm pretty sure I would say 95% of the fans want him to go and they want a change of manager. But the board have obviously come out. We're hearing different stories. We're hearing that the board are going to back him until the end of the season. We're hearing stories that the board can't afford to sack him. They're waiting until his job is untenable. This, that, and the other. And then we hear through the grapevine that he's only got 6 games to save his job. I actually feel for him a little bit. I really do. I think he knows he's out of his depth. I think he knows that the fans know that he's out of his depth, but he's still here. Someone asked me the other day, do I think that his substitutions and some of his team selections are on purpose? You'd have to sit down and actually wonder, is he trying to get himself out of this? What would be your opinion?
That's a great question, to be fair. I just want to make one thing clear. I don't dislike Unai Emery as a person.
Nor do I.
I don't dislike the man. I've got nothing against him. I just don't think that he is good enough at the moment. And this season has proved that. And I think Lee said it a few weeks ago, maybe even last week, that it wasn't just these 12 games that we've seen. It went wrong at the end of last season. And to be fair, I've not seen any progress since then. Now, you talk about substitutions, team selections, formations, tactics. I can't explain that. I don't understand. I can never pick an Unai Emery side. I don't understand his tactics. I don't understand our style. I don't really believe he's got a philosophy. There's different players playing out of position. There's been quite a few. If you think everyone talks about Torreira, you look at what he's had to do with Maitland-Niles playing out of position. We've seen Chambers come in centre back, right back. We've seen Lacazette out wide, Aubameyang pushed out wide. We've seen Ceballos holding midfield, Xhaka holding midfield, Guendouzi holding midfield. How many more players are going to be out of position? So that has got to be questioned as well. So he's not doing himself any favours. He's shooting him in the foot. And it got to me to be the Watford game away where I started to question this guy and think, yeah, maybe I can't defend him much more. And you know that I started this podcast, I was defending the guy, saying give him time, it's a hard job, it's not an easy job taking over Arsenal. It's a massive club as it is, but also Arsene Wenger was here for 22 years, and I actually thought he had bang average players, and he got the best out, the maximum out of that squad, and towards the end of last season they just run out of steam. He didn't have the squad to rotate, so I gave him a few excuses. I'm not giving the guy any more excuses now, Craig, because I think what his team is an Unai Emery side, and it's not an Arsene Wenger side anymore. So 6 games for me is too many. I would make the change now in the international break so that when we come back, our manager has got those 6 games that I believe are winnable games with the right manager in charge with the squad that we've got. And I said it before, we have got in my opinion, still believe this, the best squad, the 3rd best squad in the league. But Leicester and Chelsea have got better philosophy and style of players that are playing for their manager. And that's not what we've got.
Absolutely. I just want to bring this one here. G. Will says, Craig, why do you feel for a man that's so negative with these good attacking players? I don't feel for him on the footballing side. I feel for him on the human being side, that he's being hung out to dry by board members. He's clearly not good. He's clearly not up to the job. He clearly can't manage this group of players. So that's why I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him. I feel that he's being kept there as a make weight between the fans and the board. Lee, Unai Emery, your thoughts?
Right. Well, I don't like him. Shall I tell you why I don't like him? Because he ruins and fucks my weekend up every weekend. End of. If anybody else keeps messing my weekends up like he does, you wouldn't like him neither. And that's it. So he keeps ruining my weekends every single weekend so far for I don't know how long. When was the last time we won? Was it Bournemouth?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was before the last international
And we only
break.
just won that.
So in between international breaks, we've not won a game of football apart from a Europa League game. Is that right?
Yep.
Which is the 3-2-1 with the free kicks. Is that right?
Pepe free kick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last minute. Yep.
Right. There you go. That's why I don't like him. Like, you know what I mean? Right? I'm not sorry. He keeps ruining my weekends. Like, you know what I mean? And that's it. Like, you know. So, do I feel sorry for him? Why should I feel sorry for him? He's only $6 million a year. You know, he's blagged his way into this job, hasn't he? You know, all credit to him for that. You know what I mean? His interview must have been unbelievable.
Has he blagged it? Has he blagged it, or was it Gazidis going, "Ha, my last gift, you pack of horrible bastards"?
Well, it could have been. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know. But you know, listen. Can I just say something about the Arsenal fans again? Going back to Unai Emery, like, you know, when he first come in, everybody to a man, right, said, "I'm going to give him to the season, give him to a year," like, you know what I mean. And Arsenal fans, to their credit, despite messing up at the end of last season and to the Europa League, everybody, if you would have gone into the Emirates saying Emery out, you would have got slagged off for that first game of the season. Give him a chance. This is his team now. So everybody has given him a good year of patience, us Arsenal fans. You know what I mean? They say like that. And then all of a sudden, we've now given him another 12 games and the patience has gone. So I think that's a lot of credit's got to go into the Arsenal fans for doing that. You know what I mean? There's people that I know, right, that I know, I think Russ, who's in the comments, will back up to this. Like, you know, Ken went at the Sheffield United game, which is not that long ago. You know what I mean? He come out of the Sheffield United game and said, "Yeah, he's got to go." And there are certain people that went beyond that. Beyond that. Now,
well, Sheffield United for me, anyway.
Yeah, so there's Sheffield United. So, you know, fair play to you. I went at Tottenham at home, but there we go. That's you know. But I'd give him that year. Now, you know, it doesn't. It's all credit to those people that were doing that. Like, you know what I mean? So there was a poll on Twitter the other day. Yeah, I don't know who done it or put it up, and I'm just interested to see how it was. Right, vote Emery to keep him or to sack him. There was 6,000 votes. It was 100%, Craig.
Yeah,
100%. You know what I mean? So it's not.
I think Arsblog done a vote as well. It got over 70,000 votes. That's a full stadium. Over 70,000 votes, and it was overwhelmingly Emery out.
Now you've got professional footballers, right, that love the Arsenal, that have played for Arsenal, and I'll name a few of them. Ian Wright questioning the tactics and everything about Unai Emery. And now Ian's very, very pro whoever it is in charge. You know what I mean? Like, gives them the best sort of time of that. David Hillier's another one that's been on Twitter this week saying, like, you know what I mean? He don't understand what's going on. You know what I mean? You know, and he works for the club, by the way. Perry Groves come on the radio and said, you know, the same sort of things in watered down version because he works for the club. You know, these
Paul
guys.
Merson said enough.
Well, Merson said enough. You know what I mean? You know, he don't work for the club, like, you know what I mean. So all these people, all these players that have played for Arsenal, are turning around and saying they don't understand what the manager's doing. They don't get what he's doing. They don't get. Charlie Nicholas is another one, by the way. You know, they're not quite grasping what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, and you just think to yourself, well, something's not right, boys. You know what I mean? Like, you know. But so at the end of the day, as we're going to go back to it now, I will never ever slag Emery off at the stadium again now, as far as I'm concerned. If there's a piss poor performance, right, I ain't going for him. It'd be the Cronkies for me, or that Balder, whoever's in charge, because they're watching what we're watching, right?
Yep.
And they're seeing a manager out of his depth.
Yep.
Now, I get that the fans, the board are not going to turn around and say, "Yeah, we're looking for a new manager. We're looking for a new manager now." But if they are not doing things behind the scene, look, Stoke just got rid of their manager a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, sorry, and brought in the Irish manager, Michael O'Neill. You don't think that they've just sort of said, "I'll tell you what, we're sacking him and we're going to get him." Things are going on behind the scenes for that to happen. So let's hope that Arsenal are playing a good game and all that. I don't want to hear. I feel bad about this. I had an argument with a fan after their last home game when he turned around and said, "Arsenal have got to keep Emery because they can't afford to sack him." You know what I mean? Arsenal cannot afford to sack a manager is the biggest crime since Dick Turpin was about. You know what I mean? Because they are robbing us blind. You know what I mean? If they're doing that and then to turn around and say they can't afford to get rid of manager. They are the reason that we moved to the Emirates Stadium was so that the football club can make £3 million per game. Not per season, per game. So don't turn around and say, "We can't afford to get rid of a manager. We can't afford to do that." They can afford to do it. Whether they choose not to, that's a different kettle of fish.
Exactly that. This one from Lawrence. Thanks very much, Lawrence. David Luiz equals Liechtensteiner 2.0.
Couldn't argue with one more.
Can't argue with that. Absolutely not. Okay, let's have a look at some of these questions. This one comes in from Unique79. The question is: would Mourinho have blown the leads that we have in games? In my opinion, probably not.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Nah, no way. He's organised and he knows how to organise a team.
Absolutely. This one comes in from Natrum Guna. Question: who is the man to take Arsenal forward? Well, if they were to sack him tomorrow, I'm probably going to stir the shit pot here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to. But if they sacked Unai Emery tomorrow, there'd be two fellas I'd be interviewing straight away, and one of them would be Jose Mourinho, and one of them would be Rafa Benitez. Dan?
See, I'm going to disagree with that because I'd like a younger coach. So the two that I'd go for would be Julian Nagelsmann and Erik ten Hag.
Lee?
Do you know what? I'm not going to argue with you on the Rafa Benitez one. I wouldn't argue that, but I would break the bank for Brendan Rodgers.
A lot of people are saying Brendan Rodgers.
Arsenal are not. Let's get this right. Arsenal are not going to go out and buy big money players. They're not going to do it. So what they're going to do, they've got to be coached and nurtured and brought forward. We need a proper football coach that's going to make players better. Because I look at the team now, we've got potential there. I do like Willock, but he's just sort of gone down a little bit at the moment, Guendouzi. But imagine if these boys were coached properly into a proper unit and a proper way of playing. I would think that they would be very, very good. So that would be a game there. Mikel Arteta, I can't really say too much about that, really.
What about someone like Eddie Howe?
It's a good shout.
Yeah, I wouldn't be somebody like that. Yeah, I wouldn't be up against that. It's a very difficult thing, isn't it? Because you look at the Sheffield United manager.
You'd have him. You would.
He's doing fantastically well. But would you actually have the Wolves manager? I think we said that on another show last time. I look at him and I think, wow, what a great job he's doing at Wolves. I like the Aston Villa manager, what he's doing at Aston Villa. But would they be able to do it at Arsenal? This is the big thing. You know what I mean? I think if you're going to go out of the box, I wouldn't be up. Do you know what? I wouldn't be up. Patrick Vieira would one that I would like to go. Well, I don't know the Ajax manager's name, but he would be another one that I would look at.
Ten Hag, yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
I like his hairstyle as well, so I'd go for him.
That's the same bar as you, mate, don't he?
This one's for Lee. Are you any good at darts and pool, Lee?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad at. I'm not. Nah.
You're no good.
I'm okay.
You're no good at those two sports, and you have a pool table with a dartboard stuck on the back of it behind you.
When I play this, like, you know what I mean, I'm not bad. But when I get on the real tables, I'm not so good, like, you know.
And the pressure's on.
Pressure's on.
Okay, we have to scroll back a bit here now. Oh, look, here we go. Some of these people, they want as manager, Lee Judges as manager, and Red Ken as his number 2.
I'll tell you what, we'd have a laugh. I'll tell you that now, like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, they're all saying kind of about the manager here that they wouldn't have this and they wouldn't have that. Okay.
Someone said there, would you take Simone? I wouldn't take Simone.
No, I wouldn't either.
Too defensive, but so then someone's going to come back and say, "Oh, well, you want defensive." So I want someone that knows how to defend, but also attacks well as well.
See, I actually wanted Simeone before Emery. He was my number 1.
Yeah,
he was my number 1 because I actually thought he does attack well. I saw Griezmann and Costa banging him in. I wasn't too devastated by their attacking play at all. But I thought he's a bit of a hothead, which I quite like in a way. Very passionate. So I was quite happy with him. I'd rather have him than Mourinho. Put it that way.
Here's a good one. Paul Brennan, thanks for your question, Paul, and thanks for watching, mate. What do you think of Socrates' comments saying that the captaincy don't matter?
Well, Emery dropped him, so that says it all.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest, right? I can't see. I don't understand why the fans get all up in arms about that, because I'll tell you why. The captaincy at Arsenal hasn't mattered for 10 years, so it's quite clear. We've said that. We've said it on previous shows. I mean, who remembers when Theo Walcott was made captain because it was his birthday? Do you know? I think it was against Everton at the Emirates. It was his birthday, and they gave him the captain's armband because it was his birthday. I mean, how can any fan get up in arms about what a player has said about the captaincy when the club is doing that? We haven't had a captain since Patrick Vieira, in my opinion. There's arguments out there. Cesc Fabregas. There's an argument for Robin van Persie. There's an argument for Thierry Henry. But for proper captain, a man that you saw leading out the Arsenal, and I used to see him on the telly leading out the Arsenal, I used to feel confident all the time when he was walking out, when he walked out of that tunnel. Look at
won the game in the tunnel, didn't you? Really?
Look at what he used to do. Like that time he wound up Roy Keane in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times did he do that and we never saw it? Exactly. How many times did he do that and we never saw it because it wasn't on Sky? We never saw the things he used to do when he was on the pitch. He would die for that. He would have died on the pitch for Arsenal. When have we seen a player like that since Vieira?
And the three players you mentioned after that, in terms of Henry, Van Persie, and Fabregas, as much as I loved them, they were the best three players at the club, so they got the armband. You know, once they'd left, we had Gallas. That was a joke. You know, we've had Arteta, Vermaelen, Mertesacker. The three of them didn't even play. They sat on the bench for most of their career. It's madness.
I put out on Twitter there the other day that for me, Aubameyang is the complete wrong choice to be captain. We saw the reason why on Sunday. Or
who would you like to see?
If it was me, I'd have given it to Hector Bellerin. No argument. I'd have put it straight on his arm. For me,
it's a great shout.
Been here the longest. He's been here the longest. He knows what it means to be an Arsenal player, and the most important thing of all, he's in tune with the fans. Aubameyang is not a captain, in my opinion.
I agree with that, and I think since this has happened and all this nightmare stuff has happened with the captain, the one player who has come forward and made a lot of sense has been Hector Bellerin for me. So I'm with you there, Craig, and I'd like to have seen that. It's such a shame. There's no leaders out there, mate, is there? This is what makes me laugh. He wants to be five.
People are laughing.
There's 5 leaders out there, you know?
People are laughing at me in the comments for saying
Bellerin.
What? For saying Bellerin.
Name
me another player.
Yeah.
Who's more
I'm not going to laugh at it, but my captain now, I would say, right, we need to be shaking up all the way. I'm going to go, right, Guendouzi, you can have it, 20 years of age, 2021. Give it to Tony Evans when he was 21. Yeah. Give it to him now. Leads by example. And I'll just say, right, you know, that's what I would do. That'd be my captain there. The two captains, I see them on Sunday. There are the two players pouring down with rain that stayed to the end, clapping and walking around, both distraught because we'd lost the game, and then made sure that they come as captain. That was Bellerin and Guendouzi.
Yeah.
All the others have gone off. You know,
and the same. Are we talking about the Liverpool game?
They do it every
He done
week,
the same.
you know what I mean?
He done the same at Liverpool. I believe that a fan was quite hurt up at Anfield when one of the goals went in. They were all celebrating the goal going in. A fan was hurt. Bellerin saw that the fan was hurt, and apparently at the end of the game went over and went over, made sure he was all right, gave him his shirt, all that business. People might say that's not a reason. That's not a reason to make someone captain. In my book, it is.
Do you know what they should do? And I'm not saying because we're normally at the back and all that, like, you know what I mean. But I believe that after every away game, that the players should give their shirts to the young kids or someone that's going there along, going to the crowd and just give them to them. I know a lot of other teams do it and all that, but I think that that's something that they should do.
Right. Sorry, Lee, to come in here now. I've got to prove that I really hate doing stuff like this, but this comment here now. No, that's not it. Where's it gone? Oh, here it is. Yeah. There you go, Lee. Answer that. Nobody cares about the clapping. Answer that.
Well, I do. You know what I mean? Because I think from me, I go to games away from home. I just feel it's nice, a bit of appreciation. Listen, if they was winning every week. And they walked straight down the tunnel, it wouldn't be so bad. But I think at times. I think it does. Listen, I think that it's important from a fan's point of view that they feel that they think that the players care. Now, the way that they show they care is by putting in a performance. But if it don't go, it's just thank you for coming. And listen, when you go to a show, at the end of it, they always do the clap off at the end, don't they? You know what I mean? And I just feel that it's something that Arsenal players should do. I see it from other teams. I watch Liverpool doing it. I see when you go to European games, the whole, they all come up and sing along in the songs and all that. I do think it is important. That's just personal. Now, listen, sometimes you don't appreciate when you've just lost to Sheffield United 1-0 and they're all coming over. You know what I mean? You don't want them. But I think that shows you a bit of metal when the crowd are telling you to F off and all that. But there were a couple of the players on Saturday. I can't remember who it was that were going, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And I do think that is a good thing. That's me personally, anyway.
Top left, what a mug. Am I on the left? Oh, no. Someone thinks I'm a mug. Oh.
I'm on the bottom. No, I don't give a monkeys.
My feelings. Oh, they're so hurt.
You're right, Craig.
No, I don't think I can carry on. I think I might just jack it all in and call it a day. He's right. I'm a mug. Anyway, give it to Gunnosaurus.
Yeah.
He can't do any worse, can he? Poor old Gunnosaurus. Oh no, there's a trend going on now. Oh my God.
Jumping on the bandwagon now, aren't they?
Is it a boy or a girl? Because, if it's a girl, it's even worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. I know that people who, you see, because I've done a lot of, because of the mental health problems and all that, and I've done a lot of training courses and I've been to a lot of seminars. If you actually say something like that to someone, it means you actually quite like them.
Is that right?
That's right.
What happens when they say they love you? Like
they probably still do like you.
Oh, right.
But it's better to be negative than to be positive sometimes, because it might get you noticed, as it has there. You see, there's a lot of comments I haven't seen, but I saw them ones.
Craig the Mug, you're getting called now, like.
Craig the Mug. Mugs hold teas. It's not all bad. I love mugs. Welcome to the Mug Club. That's a good thing. Danny, look at that. Top left, world class goalkeeper. Goalkeepers union.
Danny's on the lagers again. Why is it actually called mug a bad thing? Does anybody know? That's a good question because, like, mug's quite handy, isn't it? Cup of coffee and all that.
Well, I thought, I mean,
I quite like a mug, mate. Yeah, I quite like a mug.
Why is it? Why is that such a bad comment? Muggy.
Craig the mug.
Craig the mug.
Yeah. Is that like? I don't know. Is that? I think it's a thing where. Oh. What? Yeah, no.
Hampshire Gooner, you know what I mean?
Top, and then, I'll get back to the main topic. I mean, look, you're exposed. I'm exposing the system. Craig, you're good. Yeah. Look, I'm not asking for people to do that, but get a trend on Twitter. Let's go. Craig from the same old Arsenal mug. #mug.
I don't know if you see it. I don't know if you see it on Twitter the other day from our mate Jack when he was talking about all the him and Ronnie Arani were talking about where all the slangs come from. One for the road and on the wagon. And did you see that? Have you ever seen that?
No, I didn't see that. No.
Get onto his Twitter. It's fantastic where all those names come from. Like, yeah, very interesting.
I'm just going to bring a few up here now because it's good to do this. Greetings from Washington, DC. Nico, greetings to you too.
Redskins man, Nico, let me know.
Robbie,
Redskins man coming from Washington.
It's got to be. Here's a question.
Mind you, they're as bad as Arsenal.
This one comes in from Rico. What is it that Leicester have that Arsenal are clearly lacking on paper? We're much better, so why are we struggling?
Got a decent coach.
Yeah, exactly. Manager, isn't it?
Exactly that. Simple, isn't it? Manager's better.
Absolutely. The coaching, management, who knows? We've got 4 minutes left. And the reason we've got 4 minutes left is I'll explain to why I cut them off. It's because when I'm editing the audio, I can only get an hour and a half on. So that's why I cut them off before. But if they go over an hour and a half, it causes me problems. This one comes in from Patrick. What players will leave after this year? I'll go with Lacazette and Aubameyang.
And Xhaka.
And Xhaka. Xhaka will be
Torreira. And Torreira.
And Torreira? Oh, dear. I hope not.
I think they'll go. Well, Xhaka will definitely go. I think Mustafi will probably go as well. I'll be amazed if Mesut Ozil stays. I think there'll be quite a few, if I'm honest, thinking about it. Ozil, yeah, I don't know.
Bobby, realistically, where do we go and finish if Emery stays till the end of the season?
8th.
Oh, I was going to say 8th. Yeah,
I was going to say 8th as well.
There we go.
Yeah. Question. Danny. Leno been linked with Bayern Munich? That's another one that's quite worrying, if you ask me, because Martinez the other night at Anfield, everyone knows
he's not good enough, is he?
Everyone knows I've been bigging up Martinez for a long time, and then he goes and does that to me at Anfield. It was absolutely shocking. There was two of them goals that went in. I'm sure I would have done a better job with. That one at the end, the Origi one, the equaliser. Oh my God! Poor goalkeeping. Poor goalkeeping. My mum can move quicker than that.
I've not rated the guy. I've not rated Martinez really.
No. Or as someone said to me on Twitter the other night, who's that porn star that does the football? She was on Arsenal Fan TV, wasn't she? What's her name?
Oh, what an Indian sort of girl, like
yeah.
Mia or Maya.
Oh, you know, Ben. Yeah, well done.
My mate watches it. Yeah, my mate watches it. Yeah.
He was saying, he said to me that she'd have saved it. She'd have gone down much quicker. Martinez. What's her name?
Someone's already put it up there.
Maya Khalifa. I was nearly right.
Bobby, you dirty dog, you Bobby, you dirty dog.
I'll have to get back to my mate and tell him it's Maya Khalifa.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay, thanks for watching. It's been absolutely, again, therapy. Great therapy. Nearly 800, again, live this evening. Unbelievable. Thank you very much for your support. It's great, isn't it? Guna Glenn. Well, everyone knows her name. I'm quite surprised. Nico says, I know who she is, but I'm not a fan. Thanks very much for watching. Dan, thanks very much for your time, mate. A pleasure as always. Judges, thanks, thank you very much indeed.
No worries
for coming on. Always good to get the thoughts of you guys.
Just think, if you don't have a good weekend this weekend, it's down to you.
There you go. There's your inspirational quote of the day. If you don't have a good weekend, it's down to you. Another quality podcast. Thank you very much, Dave, for your lovely comments. And if you haven't done already, I should have done this at the start of the video, really. But if you're still here and you're still watching on YouTube, hit the like button for us, please. It's not about views on YouTube. It's about the likes. The more likes you give, the higher we rank up, the more people we get in front of, and the chance to see us and find us. Once again, thanks to you all. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. We'll have a week off next week, I think, because of the international break. Is it 2 weeks or 1 week?
1 week.
1 week. We'll have a week off then next week.
Saturday, Southampton at home's the next game, isn't it? Like that.
The following Saturday. Okay.
Yep.
So until we see you then, not much more to say. Until we see you then, up the Arsenal. Take care of yourselves and each other.